Entitled mother-in-law threatened to call CPS on my unborn baby. I don't know if you can do that. Can you do that? Hello, everyone. Hello. This story is entirely secondhand accounts from my wife, 25 female. I, her husband, 26 male, only have so many details because of mother-in-law's behavior. Backstory. So my wife and I are still rather newlywed February of this year. Well, congratulations.
Good job.
But we have been together since November of 2024. Since we started dating, I got a very good idea of what my now mother-in-law is like. My girlfriend at the time would tell me many stories about how her mother would constantly violate her privacy. She would tell me how her mother would go through and snoop in her room while she was at school as a girl. The most egregious example I can recall is going through her journal and criticizing her private thoughts. I hate her already.
Let's burn her.
She would also go through all her messages she sent on her phone to her friends. Beyond violating her privacy, she would fearmonger her by constantly showing her stories about a girl in the local area, either being unalived or some other horrible story. I'm sorry, I can't give any more detail on this, but these are stories I heard a while ago, and it's her life, and I don't want to be too specific. But just these stories my wife told me, I knew her mother was quite the helicopter parent.
It's called helicopter parenting.
Now, moving forward a little, my wife moved into my apartment with me. She had the most difficult move of her life, moving across the street. Now, as any couple does, we talk about each other's day when I come home from work. During these talks, my wife would very consistently share very manipulative stories about what her mother had been up to almost every other day. Her typical strategy is to offer to take my wife to either go shop or get their nails done, whatever. After she butters her up, she will ask her to do her homework for her. My poor wife, pushover as she is, would usually do it, but recently she stood up to her and tells her no, she can't, as she's doing her own college work.
Reasonable.
When my wife refuses, her mother nearly left her over an hour away from home in the city, and only didn't because my wife called her dad to tell him what she was doing. There are hosts of examples, but it typically involves treating her to something, then during or after suggests she does something for her in exchange. Tells you what kind of relationship that is. Now, I never see any of this because this is always happening when I'm working. I never see any of this behavior firsthand. But I know she's not lying because when her mom knows I'm home and wants to come over, she will call and ask permission to come over. And when she comes, she doesn't overstep and is pleasant. But when I come home early or mother-in-law thinks I'm out doing something, that is the only time she comes unannounced. And I will be doing dishes when my wife answers the door and I hear the way she kind of begins to talk to her before she sees me and gets really sweet and then leaves shortly after.
Suspicious.
Interesting. So she's keeping up appearances. Now, all of this is just really behavior that I've told my wife since her mom doesn't behave when I'm not around, she should not open the door for her when I'm not home. Nothing too crazy, right? Yeah, but like, how do you do that though? Like, it sounds like a great idea, but in practice, like, how do you not let your mother in when she's at your door? Now for the great news. As the title implies, as of December last year, my wife and I found out we are expecting our first child.
Congratulations.
We are expecting a boy and we are super excited. Unfortunately, she's had a difficult time with the pregnancy. I was going to bore you all with the details, but essentially, there are some medical issues and our OB dropping us because she's on insurance now, which he doesn't accept. You live in the States, eh? So we're having an awesome time with that. How do they even do that? He wants you to pay out of pocket?
Can I finish complaining about healthcare inequality now?
Some people in these stories could benefit from talking to someone, a professional. And honestly, I think a lot of us could. If you've been thinking about trying therapy, but you don't know where to start, I want to thank today's sponsor, Grow Therapy. Taking care of your mental health isn't just for when things are falling apart. It's about building healthy habits before you end up starring in one of these Reddit stories. I've been in therapy for years, and even when nothing's wrong, it just feels good to talk to someone. Grow Therapy makes access to therapy so much easier and affordable, and they work with insurance. Grow Therapy works with over 125 insurance plans, including Medicaid in some states. Sessions average at around $21 with insurance, and some pay as little as $0 depending on their plan. You can choose from over over 25,000 licensed therapists and thoroughly vetted providers. Grow Therapy gives you the freedom to choose. You pick the therapist that best fits your needs. No blind matching because choice matters in healthcare. And if you decide that your provider isn't the best fit, which does happen, you can switch. And the best part, you only pay per session. There is no subscription or hidden commitments. Thank you so much to Grow Therapy for sponsoring this video. To learn more about Grow Therapy, click the link in my description or scan the QR code on the screen for a quicker way to get support and find a therapist. But during some of the visits she has had to the ER or labor and delivery, I haven't always been able to take her since I'm at work, and when she needs to go while I'm at work, she's been able to get her mother to take her. Note to you, reader, we will revisit this later. Clocking it. Log that away. So on top of all the issues, her mom throughout her pregnancy has been happy. Now, what does a happy grandparent do? They spoil, right? So my wife and I have been grateful to have received gifts from her parents like a crib for the baby and a swing. Now revisiting my earlier context, her pattern is to buy things for my wife seemingly generously and without expectations, right? Any guesses where this is going? So my mother-in-law is buying stuff and bringing it to our apartment while I'm at work, and my wife and her will be talking, and mother-in-law will make a comment about the baby, but she will refer to our son as my baby. I beg your finest pardon?
That is super weird.
Now my wife instantly caught on to this and said, no, not your baby, this is my baby. So mother-in-law will backtrack and say, right, our baby. That's not what she said, no. Mother-in-law will make another comment about the baby being hers, and my wife corrects her again, except this time mother-in-law says, well, I buy the baby stuff, which kind of makes it my baby. That's fucking crazy.
Clinically insane.
Wait. It just makes me think of like, oh, so then like, when you have a baby shower and everybody gets you gifts, is that like an investment in the baby? So when that child grows up, then based on your investment and what they make, you're entitled to it? I'm failing to understand why this is a thing. Why this mother-in-law feels this way.
So weird.
This is really delulu. Now, reader, we revisit her mom taking her to the hospital when I'm at work. Guess what, reader? Her mother works at the f***ing hospital. Her mother, who as a child would go through her journal and phone, who is a helicopter parent. She also, throughout my wife's life, has looked at her medical records since she works at the hospital even after her turning 18.
That's illegal.
Oh, that's a nice little HIPAA violation. This woman, who, like the Eye of Sauron, hovers over every detail of my wife's pregnancy notes. She works where my wife will likely give birth and has made comments on influencing the care she receives when the time comes that she gives birth. And now she's made comments alluding to our child being her baby. Okay, this is scary. This is freaky. Now we are here today, where it happens again. She makes a comment about our kid being hers. She responded,
It would be a shame if one day you're asleep and the baby's crying. He probably missed a meal and he's super hungry. CPS could get involved and then it would be my baby.
What the actual
it doesn't work like that, I don't think. Not if you tell CPS that your mother-in-law is a psycho and needs medical attention. Therapy! Brain therapy, brain medical attention. This is setting off so many alarm bells for me. This activated Mama Bear in my life who promptly kicked her out. Good, because that's mildly threatening. Now today, I've heard this very concerning story on top of every other concerning behavior mother-in-law exhibits. We are worried. Now we will vehemently fight to protect our child, but since this isn't my mom, I don't know what we should do. Honestly, it's hard to even be concerned about this when we are dealing with even getting a doctor again, seeing as now we have no OB anymore at 28 weeks and high risk. So much is going on, and I don't know if maybe my wife and I are both paranoid of her. Maybe we are seeing into things, but I don't know. There's so much going on in life, and I can't personally attest to any of this story, just everything else, which is exhausting. This is scary. I'm scared. She's a scary lady. Who says that?
Oh, like it would be so awful. if you did something minor and then I called CPS on you. Oh, wouldn't that be awful? Well, good for me.
So people in the comments are also noting the fact that, HIPAA violation. Right off the bat, if mother-in-law is accessing private medical records, there will be a computer log of that from where she's had to use her credentials to log into the system. Please, please, please report this. It's a HIPAA violation. If she's doing it to her own daughter, she's probably doing it to other people. Hospitals don't play about that sort of thing. It is a federal crime. You could hang on one second, let me just stretch. You could report her.
Not a bad idea.
And maybe get her put in jail. And then she wouldn't be a threat to you anymore. Second, this woman sounds like my mother, and it took me a long time to realize I needed to cut her off. Well, that goes without saying, because, that's concerning. Everything is concerning. I'm concerned!
I think you should be more concerned.
I think you and your wife need to have a sit down and really talk about long-term issues that are going to arise from the situation. The woman has no business being in that baby's life, but I'd bet that your wife feels guilty about setting boundaries because she spent her whole life being conditioned not to. Congratulations on the baby, and you're a good dude for believing her. Yeah, I think at the very, very least, you need to cut off this mother-in-law's access to the baby and your wife's medical records. And that can be done really, really swiftly if you just report what's going on. But yeah, you definitely need to cut this person off.
Get rid of her.
And maybe your wife needs to seek a little therapy. Am I the a-hole for telling my mother-in-law she can't play an AI-generated song at my wedding? Okay. My 27 female DJ reached out to me 4 days before my wedding and said my soon-to-be mother-in-law, 50 female, asked if she could play a surprise song that she had made for the groom. She's obsessed with ChatGPT, and I couldn't be more anti-AI.
Hells yes, brother man.
I knew it was going to be AI slop. I asked the DJ to send me the song, and yeah, it was AI, hyper-specific about my fiance, 27 male, and his family dynamics, and mentions both of us by name multiple times, which really takes me out of the moment mentally. It's 5 minutes long, and the second half of it gives boy mom who's giving up her baby energy. If you know, you know.
I'm a big boy. Mom!
I can just picture how awkward all of that will be.
I made the song.
No, you didn't. A robot did. I asked if she would be willing to play the song for him before the ceremony while he gets ready, or even at our rehearsal dinner. The song truly reads like she wrote him a letter or a toast and had chat make it into a song. In my opinion, it is not appropriate for our 195-person wedding reception. She responded, "It's okay, I'll do it another time." Question mark, question mark, question mark. What does that mean?
Oh, I'm afraid.
Does she want this to be the mother-daughter dance kind of thing? I don't love this. And then followed it with a text that said she hasn't felt included except for signing checks. Mind you, I took her dress shopping with me, brought her along to the venue with me, and all 3 of her other kids have a role in our wedding, despite my fiance and I having a total of 8 siblings between us that we were trying to include. So she wants to be more included by playing an AI slop song at your wedding? That's so weird. Why can't she just say her speech? Why does it need to be a weird AI song? One of her kids is an 18-year-old female, so she will get a chance to be mother of the bride one day and be fully included to the extent that she feels entitled to, I guess. She gets to be in the processional, the family wedding pics, and have a whole mother-son dance at our wedding, so I'm not sure what more she was expecting from us.
Arm and a leg, Mom.
I offered, against my better judgment, to let her play the song during their mother-son dance. And I was going to have the DJ fade it out after 2 minutes, but get this. She doesn't want to play her special surprise song during the mother-son dance. Well, what the fuck? What do you mean? I feel like that's a really good compromise. She doesn't want it to take the place of the song my fiance picked for them because she thinks he's stressed over the song and is sentimentally attached to it, but that's not the case. So she wants not only the mother-son dance with a song specifically picked out for them that she made with ChatGPT, but she wants to also additionally play this other song. So when does she want to play it?
For the rest of your life.
Additional context, my fiance has a stepmom and we'll be doing a mother's son with her as well. So my mother-in-law thought it would be appropriate for him to do 2 mother dances and then still play an additional 5-minute song that is poorly written by a robot. I know what's happening here. She sees that, she's sharing the time with the stepmother and she wants additional time with her son to show that he's her son.
Give us a break here, huh?
She wants a bigger role in the wedding because the stepmother also has a similar sized role to her. She hasn't spoken to me since I told her no. Wedding 3 days away and we've had a good relationship until this. Am I the a-hole? I mean, it's your wedding and you're very anti-AI. Did you say that you're anti-AI? Because it's not what you want, So when does she want to play it? Does she want to play it when they're dancing? Don't fall for this, OP. She's trying to guilt trip you by saying,
Oh, well, you only want me to sign checks, blah, blah, blah.
I'm telling you right now, you've done your job to include her. This was actually such a big thing at my wedding, everybody wanting to feel included, having a bigger role than other people that they felt weren't my closer friends, or my mom wanting a say in certain things, even when it was I literally don't even understand why you have this opinion, it's if you know, the lemon fiasco, okay? At the end of the day, OP, it's your wedding, and if you don't want this played at your wedding, then she's out of luck. Say no, that's it. She can play it for her son at her convenience somewhere else and some other time. It's weird that she didn't even come to you with this, but went to the DJ first. Yeah, that's interesting. Seems she wanted to go over your head, except you have the final say, so okay. This sure looks like a mother-in-law that should get used to hearing the word no. Not the a-hole. Some people in the comments are saying, she's giving main character energy. She wants to be the main character. She doesn't like that, there's she wants to have a bigger role in the wedding. She's giving her baby away. She wants to let everyone know that she's the mother and the stepmother is second to her.
Oh, please.
It's your wedding, your rules. Further, the DJ works for you, not her. So if you confirm with him it's a no-go, that's the end of it, not the a-hole. I know me personally, we really spent a lot of time on the music. There were times on the day where we actually made changes to it just because of the vibe. This is gonna be such a weird, everyone's gonna stop and just you know what it kind of reminds me of? I don't exactly know what happened at the, Victoria Beckham, her son's wedding. There was all this stuff about her kind of, dancing and stealing focus and stuff like that. I just genuinely feel there's going to be everyone's just going to stop what they're doing, exchange glances, and be it's going to be really awkward. I can see it now. If she had actually made the song herself and it was, decent, I actually wouldn't be entirely opposed to her playing the song for her son. Mike actually wrote me a song for our first dance. It was very sweet. It's on YouTube if you guys want to hear it. And that meant a lot to me, but he wrote it. He went into the studio and played all the instruments and worked with the producer and made it from start to finish. This is just weird. I don't get the AI thing. She probably thinks that it's so creative. Let me just put a prompt in. Look what I made.
I'm good at computer stuff.
No, actually, you didn't make anything. You put in a prompt, probably added your speech, and then ChatGPT took inspiration from real artists and used that to make the song. Not the a-hole, so let me get this straight. It's a 5-minute song just about her son, not about you both or about this new chapter in your life. Wait, that is super weird. Wait, it's kind of like a love song to your fiance. That's so weird. Absolutely put your foot down, get your fiance to speak to her, and say she can show the song another time, preferably at the rehearsal. The way you didn't need to worry about it being slipped into the DJ or some other heist and it's done and dusted. Make sure both of you speak to her and say it's not permitted. Make sure your DJ is across the board and informed, and no one is going to make changes to the playlist without your approval. And particularly, mother-in-law is not to add any songs or anything. OP responded to this and said, the song is mostly about my fiance, but yes, it does talk about this new chapter and her letting go of him so he can be my man now instead of hers.
Ew.
Ah! Honestly, you're kind of saving her from embarrassment. Weird undertones, terrible writing and wording, just not the vibe I want at my ceremony. I want to get the formalities done ASAP so we can party. The song is so embarrassing to even listen to. Oh yeah, this is gonna be hella weird. And honestly, you are saving her from embarrassment by saying no, so not the a-hole. I'd be even worried about her speech. If that's what the song is, she's probably gonna try and pull focus in some other way, I'm just telling you now, but good luck, OP. Entitled Mom demanded I prove my kid was actually mine at the playground. Okay. Yesterday, after work, I took my 5-year-old to our local playground because he's been bouncing off the walls all day. It was pretty busy, lots of parents sitting on benches, kids running around, the usual. My son was on the climbing thing and I was standing nearby because he's still in that phase where he thinks he's invincible. A woman I'd never seen before was watching him way too hard, like following him with her eyes. I didn't think much of it until my kid slid down and ran over to me for water, and she marched up with her arms crossed and said, "Is that your child?" I said yes, obviously, and she immediately hits me with, "Well, he keeps cutting in front of my daughter. You need to control him." Madam, this is a playground.
Be for real!
But okay. I told her I'd talk to him, and I did. I said, "Hey buddy, wait your turn." He nodded and ran back. Thought that was it. Nope. 10 minutes later, she's back, this time louder, saying my son pushed her kid. My son is tiny, and her daughter was older and bigger, but sure. I asked my son what happened, and he said the girl wouldn't let him climb, and he went around her, and maybe he bumped her by accident.
Seems like a good kid.
I apologized anyway because whatever, playground stuff happens. Entitled Mom then says,
I don't think he's even yours. I haven't seen you here before.
the math is not mathing. I never understand this type of like comment because I've heard of this happening quite a bit. What if the kid has like a nanny? She's his mother, obviously. Like I'm saying hypothetically, okay? There's plenty of kids out there that have caregivers and nannies and stuff like that. Maybe, you know, they're being babysat by someone. Maybe the family's looking after the kid while the parents work. There's so many instances in which the kid might be like being taken care of by somebody else. Why are you interjecting yourself in this way? It's for sure, it's hella insulting because it is her kid. But why even make a comment like that?
Doesn't make sense.
And also, I don't think he's even yours. I haven't seen you here before. How does that even make sense at all? It's only her child if she's seen her at the park before? Like, the math is not mathing. I literally laughed because what? She tells me I need to show proof. You absolutely need to do nothing at all. He's my kid, or she's calling someone because people kidnap kids from parks all the time. Is this lady racist or something? Like, I literally don't understand what's going on here. Like, it would make sense if she was racist. I'm just saying.
Bigots. I hate bigots.
Racism doesn't make sense, but like in the context of like why she's so weird, why she's being so weird, it does kind of make sense if she's racist, you know? At this point, other parents are looking over and my son is staring at me like he did something horrible. I said, lady, I'm not showing you anything. Back off. She tries to grab my son's wrist. That's not going to happen. When he walks over, like to keep him there, and I snapped and pulled him behind me. I told her if she touches him again, she's like,
people kidnap kids all the time.
Meanwhile, she grabs children that are not hers.
That's illegal.
I told her if she touches him again, I'm calling the police, and she instantly flips to the victim act, saying I'm aggressive and suspicious and that a real parent would understand her concern. No, I feel like if I took my kid to a park and there was some crazy lady saying, that's not your child, I haven't seen you here before. What are you concerned about exactly? There's just kids at the park. One dad nearby finally speaks up and goes, he's been here the whole time, calm down. She got mad at him too, saying he's enabling. She ended up leaving in a huff with her daughter, yelling that the park is unsafe. My kid asked me in the car if that lady thought I stole him, and I felt so gross about the whole thing.
That's messed up.
Honestly, I'm a little worried about this situation. Like, there's already crazy people at the dog park. I can't even imagine someone coming up to me, like a crazy Karen mom coming up to me and like grabbing my kid and saying that my kid isn't mine. Oh, like there are a few things in life that would make me go absolutely insane. I'm a pretty well-mannered person, okay? But the few times where I get like really irritable, first of all, if I haven't slept well, and second of all, if someone comes at me first, charge! And it's usually people at the dog park that are just so annoying, like they just like hate the dogs, they hate dog owners, whatever, right? They'll come at me first, they're really, really unreasonable, and I snap. If it were my kid, God help them. God help them. I would maybe try and find another park to go to. But that kind of also sucks for you, I'm really glad that this other parent backed you up. This lady sounds like she's been a problem with other people too. That's when you take your son and go, my darling, I want you to know that what you've just witnessed is what we call a Karen. That's a crazy lady that you want to stay away from, okay? If you see a crazy Karen lady, you come straight to mommy.
Parenting.
I would have that literal discussion in front of her. Don't worry, sweetheart. This lady's just a crazy Karen. We don't like people like her. Yeah, there you go. Am I the a-hole if I refuse to pay and host for a babysitter at my wedding? All rise for the Honorable Judge Charlotte presiding. This is posted in the Charlotte Dobre YouTube subreddit. I love Charlotte. Love you too. And I want an honest opinion. Am I being delusional or not? Well, I'll tell you. Let me just crack my knucks. I'll keep this very short. My future husband's brother is insisting on hiring a specific babysitter for their 1.5-year-old son. My future husband and I are paying for qualified babysitters. We all have their resumes, but they want their babysitter. Hold the frick on. You're paying for childcare at your wedding and they want you to hire an additional babysitter? Honey, you're already doing these parents a solid by hiring childcare for your wedding. Absolutely not. I was a little on the fence because I always think it's a good thing if you can afford it in your budget to have some sort of entertainment for kids or have some sort of, childcare at your wedding. We really tried to do that, except I think that they were charging like 2,000 euros for like one night, and they would only look after like 2 children. If any more than that, and the price doubles. So it was like way too much and such a scam, and we didn't have very many people coming to our wedding that had kids. The people that did come just brought their kids.
Yeah, no, it was very chill.
It worked out fine. But yeah, this is a pretty, if I'm understanding it correctly, I'm assuming that you probably paid a lot of money for these babysitters to begin with. So they want, and I quote, for her to have the same meal as all the other guests, for her to have a room at the venue. I beg your finest pardon. Even though we are on a tight budget and I am paying for all my friends who are coming from out of town, and for her to have breakfast the next day, which costs a fortune. I'm fed up at this point. My future husband is saying to let it go and accept that, but I won't. Am I in the wrong here? Need honest opinions. A babysitter at a wedding is not a necessity, okay? If they have, issues with someone else taking care of their child, then they can take care of their child. Reach. This is insane. These parents are so entitled. I am just baffled. I'm baffled. So OP answered some questions in an edit. Is the babysitter his mistress? Oh, well, that made me laugh a lot because I haven't even thought of that one before. She's in her 60s, he's in his late 30s. Then again, I don't know, anything can happen, but I really don't think so. Is my future husband stupid? My future husband is reading the comments and he agrees with you all. He's even sending a message to his brother right now. We'll see how that goes. Oh, and by the way, I'm not gonna leave my future husband just because he's a doormat. I'm a doormat myself. A few people have told me I should reconsider him, but I don't see why. Just because he doesn't have the guts to stand up to his older brother, I can understand that it's not that simple. My fiance is the kindest, most tolerant, lovable, and wonderful person I've ever met in my life. Of course, I'm not going to dump him for a reason like that. I know Reddit likes to say that, and let's be honest, I'm the first to say it in some posts, but we have to consider the impact of what we say. No, I'm going to stay engaged to him, and I'm going to marry him. My first thought was not to break up with your fiance. My first thought was definitely to tell these people to stick it where the sun don't shine, okay? The amount of like ridiculous requests that we had, it was a lot. It was a lot. And there were times where I was fed up. But at no point did I say to, my husband, now husband, that I want to end my relationship with him because there's some crazy people coming to our wedding that have weird requests. It's not his fault. So we do have an update. My fiance finally grew a spine. Yay. He told his big brother that his request was entitled. He'll have to pay for the sitter no matter what because we will not be paying for her. Brother-in-law was not happy, but future husband did not cave. Thank God. Then we got a call from mother-in-law. She was mad because she's totally on brother-in-law's side. Well, then she can pay for it.
A lot of great suggestions.
She thinks her grandchildren should get special treatment because they're family. You're already giving special treatment by having a babysitter at your wedding. They just want their babysitter. It really bothers me when you go over and above to take care of your guests and do things for the people that you love, and they take that almost as a reason to push you around or ask for more. And that my friends whose rooms I'm paying for aren't a priority, and that the sitter deserves a room far more than they do, at our expense, of course. Oh yeah, for sure. Let's just pay for this like random 60-year-old lady to come to my wedding and like have a plate and a hotel room. Absolutely not. No, would literally even, I don't even want her there, honestly. I don't understand this really entitled notion that they have that they need a separate babysitter from other people. So we were fuming because we think that this line of reasoning is ridiculous and insulting to the other guests. Luckily, future husband stood his ground. No, we will not be paying for the sitter. I don't know if it's relevant, but for the record, we are paying for brother-in-law, sister-in-law, and kids' room. Wow. Okay, so you're literally doing all of this for them and they're still wanting more?
Greedy, deceitful.
So the level of entitlement is driving me mad. Wow. People really do try it, don't they? So as far as I can tell, the sitter will be there, but at my brother-in-law's expense. I also got a text from sister-in-law. She apologized profusely. Well, good. I'm glad one person's sane in this story. She had no idea this was going on. She thought the kids were being looked after by the sitters we are paying for, not that her husband had been planning this stunt. She scolded him, so I guess we're covered. She's amazing. So the fact that he didn't even consult with his wife. Brother-in-law's doing some weird shit, okay? Brother-in-law, is entitled and is somehow trying to create problems for you guys to make the day about himself. It's just annoying at this point. You're not the main character of someone else's wedding. You're just not. And that's okay. It's one day. Anyways, everything is fine. Thanks for everything. P.S. The sitter will eat a vacuum sealed sandwich generously provided by my brother-in-law. So classy, I couldn't help but laugh. Vacuum sealed. Kind of feel bad for her, honestly. So, one more update. I'm laughing so hard. My mother-in-law is still not having it. She keeps saying we have to kick some of my friends off the list. No. I repeat, I and I alone am paying for my friends to be there, and I'm proud of it, by the way. You should be. You're a good friend. Some of them are coming from abroad, so of course I'm paying for them. That's the way it goes in my country. I really have no idea why mother-in-law wants the sitter to be there so bad. Any suggestions? I want to laugh because her eldest son is her favorite son. That's why. Even my brother-in-law has given up. I'm laughing because my fiance is like, The other problem is she's paying for part of the wedding, so she has a say. Well, okay, that only extends so far. I'm sorry, but it really does only extend so far. I'm sure that you're using that money to go toward not only paying for parts of the wedding that she's enjoying, but also to pay for her son to be there and his family.
That's so ungrateful.
I'm sorry, at what point do we prioritize a babysitter over guests? Am I completely crazy over here or what? You're not crazy at all. You're doing a lot for the people in your life. so that they can attend this wedding. The fact that you're even getting childcare already to begin with, and that's not good enough for these people, is nutso. Okay? It's crazy shit. Crazy talk. If he wants her there, then he needs to pay for all her expenses. I mean, this is a fair compromise. To be honest, I don't even want her at your wedding. I just find that super weird that we're putting people on the guest list that you don't know when you're providing childcare already. You are not the a-hole. And have a great wedding, babes. If you're enjoying this video, we got some more entitled parents for you. Don't go anywhere. And make sure you hit that subscribe button. Am I the a-hole for moving out of my parents' house where I was paying rent and without any notice when I was told to give up my room again? I, 18 male, have 3 younger brothers, 16 male, 13 male, and 12 male. Our parents were always a little harder on me than them, and I know that can be normal sometimes. Yeah, the first child always gets the brunt of it. But one thing that always drove me crazy is when they were hosting people from my dad's family, I would be the only one asked to give up my room to keep them. People from dad's family stayed over a lot too, so there were a lot of times I had to sleep on the couch for them. Sometimes I didn't even get much notice. My brothers never had to give up their rooms. In fact, if there were more than usual, my parents would add blow-up beds to my room for them, and the guest room would get a mattress or 2 depending on the situation. That's really unfair. It always bothered me, and I spoke to my parents about it several times. I thought we had a breakthrough last year when they told me they not wanted me to feel that way and they would do better. After I turned 18, I started working full-time and I started paying rent. Don't. Really? Don't say what you're about to say, please. One of the agreements we came to was there was no more making me give up my room. Right, because you're paying to be in it.
That should be obvious enough.
I told them since I was paying for my room now, the least they could do was respect that. This was never formally implemented and it was all just very between family. But what happened? A bunch of family visited a month ago. My parents told me to give up my room for them to have space. Absolutely not. You might as well just leave. I'd move out. How awful of them. When I tried to stand my ground and also talk to them about it, they told me it was their decision because it was their house. You're paying rent in their house. You're paying for your room. I fail to understand why they keep having all these people over if they literally don't have room to host. It would never cross my mind if I didn't have the bedroom space to kick out a roommate or like kick out like Mike so that a family member could stay in a bed. I would just tell them like, you're gonna have to get an Airbnb or like we'll put a mattress for you, in the basement or something. I would never kick someone out of their own bed. Ugh. Instead of just accepting it, I called my grandparents on my mom's side and asked if they had room for me and were okay with me moving in. They said yes immediately and they came over to pack me up and move me in. My parents thought it was a joke until they saw my stuff being brought out to my grandparents' car. My parents told me I couldn't just leave and I was paying rent, so I needed to give them real notice. No. They lost the privileges of a landlord when they kicked you out of your room that you pay for.
Y'all can't have it both ways, man!
I told them if I was kicked out of the space I was renting, then I was just going to leave. Ever since, my parents have been telling me to move back in, and they said it was childish for me to move out in such an overdramatic way. I would actually say that that's the most adult thing that you did. This is what being an adult is. They're being childish. And taking advantage of you as well. I'm sure they like that extra paycheck. If they had another person, like a real renter, not someone that, if they had like an actual lease and stuff, and it was, a boarder or whatever it's called, you can't just kick them out of their room. They're fully taking advantage of the fact that you probably do whatever they say, whenever they want. They think they can push you around.
Stop pushing me.
They told me I left the family members who were visiting feeling awkward and like they were intruding. Am I the a-hole? There was no room for the family members to stay. They shouldn't have been staying there in the first place. But I would honestly, I feel like you came out of this in the best case scenario. I would not want to live in a situation in which I don't even get to sleep in my own bed that I pay for. Your parents can suck my dick. All 10 inches of it.
Damn, girl.
Not the a-hole. They can't have it both ways. Either it's their house and their decision, in which case you're free to decide you don't want to live there anymore, or you're paying rent for that room and they respect the space. Expecting you to pay rent and then still kicking you out of your own room whenever guests arrive is ridiculous. Moving out wasn't childish. It was the natural consequence of them ignoring the one boundary you asked for. Literally. You can't just tell someone that they're being childish when they're telling you that they have a boundary and to respect it. I would say being childish would be to let them just kind of push you around. That's what a child does. The minute that you become an adult, you have your own autonomy, okay? You make your own decisions, and it is entirely your choice where you want to live. If you're paying rent somewhere, you should be entitled to your own bed. Enough said. Not the a-hole. Honestly, you handled that really well. You didn't yell, you didn't cause a scene, you just found another arrangement and left. Very adult if you ask me. That's exactly what I'm saying. He acted like an adult, not a child. Thank you. I saw no reason to make a bigger deal out of it. We had enough fights over the years about this topic. Only now I have the ability to do something about the unfairness. Period.
Well done.
I think some distance between you and your parents will be a good thing. And I'm kind of scared for your brothers, I'm not gonna lie. So there's some people pointing out that like the family members were intruding. I would also, just a quick point, I would also feel very terribly about going to someone's house and kicking someone out of their bed so that I can stay there for free. That is an intrusion. They should feel bad. Next time, they shouldn't be okay with someone going and sleeping on the couch so that they could be accommodated. And your parents shouldn't have agreed to that in the first place. But you see what I mean? Like, how could you go to someone's house and then they have to kick their kid out of their bed in order for you to have a place to sleep? No.
Well, maybe they know that. And maybe they don't.
You are not the a-hole. Am I the a-hole for telling my mother-in-law she can't have my engagement ring? Okay. Was it like a family heirloom or something? I've been married to my husband for 14 years, and throughout our marriage, my mother-in-law has inserted herself into a lot of our decisions. I've usually managed to handle it, but this time I'm wondering if I'm the a-hole. She recently told me she wants my engagement ring so she can give the diamond to my 24-year-old stepdaughter because according to her,
You're never going to wear it anyway.
What? I told her no. I explained it is not her ring to give away. Yes, the ring originally belonged to her, and she gave it to my husband to propose to me with when we got married. However, she's already been divorced from my father-in-law for years. Once my husband gave the ring to me and accepted it, it became my engagement ring. Yeah, you can't just take backsies. Like, you just can't. You gave her the heirloom. It is what it is. The only time where it gets passed down to somebody else is if maybe you get another, like, wedding ring, like, 20 years into marriage. I don't even know what the standard is. I feel like it's like every 20 years or something you get an upgrade, or every 30 years. It's not necessary, but I've heard of people doing that.
I guess you missed that memo, babe.
And then maybe you want to give it to your daughter. She can't just like play favorites and then decide that she wants to take back the ring she gave you and give it to her stepdaughter. And you are going to wear it. What's this? You're never going to wear it anyway? Like, I don't really understand. I haven't been able to wear it recently. Oh, because I've gained some weight and it no longer fits. Rather than losing or damaging it, I've kept it safely stored until I can have it resized or wear it again one day. Her argument is that it's just sitting in a safe and not being worn. So she thinks it should go to my stepdaughter. Doesn't work like that. Sorry. This sounds like someone with a control issue, honestly. And like maybe her stepdaughter is her new favorite or whatever.
I love all my children equally.
Unfortunately, she gave that to you as a gift. So no take backsies.
Tough titty.
She even wants to remove the diamond from the ring and turn it into a necklace for her. So wait, your stepdaughter isn't even engaged? Wait. 24-year-old stepdaughter, because according to her... Wait, is the stepdaughter not even getting married? Oh, be so for real right now. She's turning it into a necklace? I thought she wanted to... Well, no. Then you can take the diamond and put it in a bigger ring.
Utterly baffling.
Oh, Katiba! I also have a 13-year-old daughter, and my stepdaughter has never really been interested in jewelry anyway, so this whole situation makes even less sense to me. I feel like the ring is mine now, and what happens to it should be my decision, not my mother-in-law's. So am I the a-hole for telling her no? That is your ring now. If you choose to, in the future, pass it down to one of your daughters, that's your decision. Your mother-in-law can't just be like,
that's mine.
It's not yours. You gave it to someone, so it's not yours anymore. So, little update. My husband has talked to her, but it doesn't matter. She's crazy. I took the ring to a reputable jeweler here in my hometown, and they told me it can't be resized again without compromising the integrity of the ring. I'm not willing to risk damaging it so I can wear it again. The ring is not just sitting in a drawer either. It's locked away safely in a secure safe. My oldest also agrees with me and has told me not to give it to her. I wasn't going to give it back anyway. Just because you can't resize the ring doesn't mean that you can't take the diamonds out of the ring and put it in a new ring. I'm gonna go with not the a-hole, but let's see what everybody else had to say. Not the a-hole, once you give something away, it's not yours anymore. Your mother-in-law should know that. OP, I think you should get your ring resized and wear it. Not just to make a point to your mother-in-law, but so you can enjoy your meaningful ring. I need to resize mine. And this is a good comment. Or put it on a chain and wear it as a necklace. There you go. That's a good compromise. Info, why isn't your husband handling his mother? Seriously, he should be dealing with her because she's his mother. Regardless, you're of course not the a-hole. I also want to know the answer to that question.
Rein it in.
OP did update that her husband talked to his mother. There's only so much you can do when you're dealing with a crazy person. All right, I wanted to end this video with something oddly satisfying. Not very oddly, just satisfying, honestly. Entitled mother lost the job of a lifetime due to her bad behavior. This is a bit of a convoluted story, but I'll do my best to make sure y'all can follow along. Here's the cast of this story. Me, 21 female. Mom, 47 female, 9th grade English teacher. Dad, 57 female, deacon at Kyle and Kayla's church. Kayla, 41 female, another 9th grade English teacher and the wife of Kyle. Shirley, 66 female, honors 9th grade English teacher. Kyle, 43 male, substitute teacher and pastor of Mom and I's church, husband of Kayla. Jesse, 54 male, head of the English department. So, I and my mom have a strange relationship. I do not know how to feel about her. I'll tell you how to feel about her.
Yeah, you will.
Some people say she's mentally sick, while others say she's just a bad person. I'm still trying to figure it out myself. She's had episodes where she goes from a good person to an utter nightmare. Is she a Gemini? During these, she will act dangerously, speeding, moving out, shoplifting, drinking, trying to start new relationships, basically anything dumb you can think of. She's trying to get a new job on a whim. She once got a doctorate in the hopes of becoming a professor, and she had my sister and I write all of her assignments for her. We were 13 and 11 at the time. Okay. We did get mom the doctorate. I beg your finest pardon. But then she decided she didn't want to be a professor any longer. The fact that a 13 and an 11-year-old got a doctorate is kind of concerning. Or maybe you're literally just that smart.
Impressive.
She's unable to keep friends for longer than a year. This is important for later. She makes strange purchases such as greenhouses, entire series of books she never finishes, and criticizes us for spending too much money. During these episodes, she can also be quite cruel, especially to me. She's hit me and told me she wishes I was not alive. Yeah, there's some mental health problems here. And you're probably gonna have mental health problems as a result.
Trauma.
Thank you to Grow Therapy for sponsoring this video. She also has made fun of all my different aspirations, my friends, and my boyfriend. She believes the world revolves around her, and she can be quite cruel to those who don't treat her like a goddess. She's constantly emailing the admin at her high school to complain about teachers not being perfectly nice. I developed MDD as a result of her behavior, major depressive disorder, and I'm still trying to overcome it. I'm so sorry that you're dealing with someone like this, especially your own mother. I'm always on edge around her, even when she's acting like the warm, kind person she can be. Now, mom is an English teacher at a local high school. I did not have her as a teacher. I instead had Shirley, and I loved her. She was caring, kind, and very understanding of all of us. She was willing to extend deadlines. She introduced me to my favorite book, Great Expectations. Great book. I adored her. For a while, she and mom got along, but mom did what she always does and decided that Shirley was a terrible person and she would never talk to Shirley again. She even told Shirley as such in a phone call. I wouldn't be surprised if your mother has something undiagnosed. It's always interesting, the people that need therapy the most are not the people that are in therapy. I heard something from my therapist that really stuck with me. She said that the people that come to her for therapy are not the people that actually need therapy. It's the people that put them in therapy that need the therapy. She even told Shirley as such in a phone call. I wasn't even allowed to invite Shirley to my high school graduation party. Shirley still sent me a card, which Mom made fun of. She said something about how Shirley was too cheap to get me an actual present. But Shirley has now decided to retire and spend some time at home with her grandchildren. And let me guess, Shirley probably has a say in who replaces her? That opened up her job position. Mom has dreamed of being an honors teacher ever since she first started working at the high school 9 years ago. She always talks about how much better behaved her students would be if she taught honors students instead of the normal riffraff.
Dear God.
I can tell you right now, if that's how you feel about your students, that they're riffraff, you shouldn't be a teacher. All of a sudden, she decided to rekindle her relationship with Shirley. So there's few things in life that, that they're lessons that I hear that are kind of, they're stereotypical lessons. But one lesson that I have always stuck by is you should never, ever, ever burn a bridge, especially in a professional capacity. Even if the situation was really, really awful, it's always best to leave a situation on good terms, because you genuinely never know when you're going to encounter these people again. If they're going to be in positions of power and they're going to be, gatekeepers.
Don't shoot yourself in the foot like this.
For example, you always hear about people like big actors being on set and treating like the lower level assistants, treating them badly. Those people are in those positions because they probably want to be directors. They probably want to be cinematographers. They probably want to be producers. One day they might be. So I'm always of the opinion that you should enter any professional situation or any situation in general with just like be well-mannered, don't treat people badly. Don't burn bridges.
It'd be nice.
Because like this happens. And I bet you anything, Shirley is clocking this. She unblocked Shirley's number and was calling her every night. She would ask Shirley for her curriculum so she could start to amend it for her future classroom. She often complained that Shirley was acting cold and didn't understand why. No, the math is definitely mathing with this one. Dad and I tried to caution her, saying the job wasn't guaranteed yet, but Mom wouldn't listen. As far as she was concerned, she was a shoo-in for the job. She didn't think anyone would dare challenge her. Lo and behold, the principal went up to another teacher in her department, Kayla, and asked her to apply for the job. Kayla has only taught at my mom's school for 1 year. I don't know Kayla very well, but I like her. She's good with English and speech, and even helped give my sister some tips for speech competitions. She's a bit quiet, but always polite and very involved with our church. She's the wife of our church's pastor, Kyle, who also substitutes in our school. She's tried being friendly to Mom and always asks me to tell her hello if I'm at church, and Mom isn't. Mom never reciprocates.
Not surprised.
Goodness. Your mom sounds like a piece of work. Now, I don't know if Kayla knew Mom wanted this job. Dad says it would have been cruel for Kayla to apply for this job if she knew how much Mom wanted it. I'm sorry, but your mom's boss didn't want your mom in that role. That's why he asked Kayla to apply for it. Your mom never had a chance at that role. She makes life difficult for everyone around her. You don't get to be rewarded in life if you're difficult, okay? Contrary to popular Karen belief, if you're difficult, it actually does the exact opposite. It makes people not want to deal with you, honestly. So I'm not sure I agree. It doesn't matter too much as Kayla applied for the job one way or another. With 2 applicants for the job, the man supposed to decide, Jesse, balked and asked some sort of committee to make the decision instead. The committee reviewed Mom and Kayla and eventually decided that Kayla would get the job.
Good for her.
Shirley for sure said something. Or, the principal didn't want to deal with your mom. The principal fully knows exactly who he's dealing with and didn't want the repercussions. That's why he left it up to the committee. But I don't think that anyone really wants to work with your mom, nor wants to reward her for her bad behavior. So Mom is in hysterics. She can't believe that a teacher who's been at our school for less than a year would get the job over her, an 8-year teacher with a doctorate. She's convinced that the school is plotting against her and Kayla is a vindictive you-know-what. She's emailing and texting the superintendent, the principal, and even other teachers in an attempt to make the school reconsider and give her the job instead of Kayla. She even told Dad that he needs to stop being a deacon at our church and to leave the church altogether because Kayla and Kyle go there. She thinks Kyle is also involved, and I don't see how. And if he doesn't, she's threatening to divorce him. My brother, who's autistic and dealing with psychosis, is now convinced Mom is a demon. Honestly, you don't got to be dealing with psychosis to think that. And keeps rocking back and forth on the couch. Oh, poor thing. I'm staying out of the house as much as possible. I know I should feel bad for Mom, but I don't. In my humble opinion, Mom has been treating others like crap for years and never expected anything to happen to her. I'm sure this principal has dealt with Mom for 8 years and knows she isn't an ideal candidate for the position. Yeah, and not necessarily someone that I would want, like, teaching my children, to be honest. First of all, she cheats. Like, she has her daughters write her doctorate assignments for her. Her children, like literal children, okay? So that already shows a moral compass that's kind of like no bueno. In addition, like, I always like to think of teachers as also just being champions of their students. The way she talks about her students now, calling them riffraff and stuff. If your students are riffraff, you haven't worked hard enough to bring them out of the situation that they're in. You haven't worked hard enough as a teacher.
Facts.
My foundation and the reason why I'm even doing what I'm doing right now was built on teachers who took a liking to me and championed me. And the wrong teacher will literally ruin your life. I'm wondering if this committee knows what kind of person Mom can be and decided that she wouldn't be a good fit for the job. I think Shirley had a say in it. In that case, well, this is just the consequences of Mom's actions catching up with her. Maybe that makes me a jerk. I'm honestly past caring. Some people in the comments are saying she might have bipolar. Yeah, we can't really diagnose, guys. Again, I'm not a therapist. If you want a therapist, go talk to Grow Therapy.
Is that irony?
We can't really be diagnosing people when we're not therapists. But OP did say one of her sisters who she doesn't talk to has bipolar, and I know it's genetic. I'm more interested in an 11 and 13-year-old writing doctoral papers and Mom actually graduating. It was just for an education doctorate, and it honestly wasn't too hard, just a lot of paper writing about different theories of education. That is definitely hard. It was also through Liberty, so the last 2 paragraphs of each essay had to be about a Bible verse and how the topic connected to Christianity in some way. I was always good at those sections. Wow. Honestly, you're pretty humble, but I can guarantee that you're a very smart person. OP, I'm sorry that you're dealing with. But the good news is that there's therapy. So thank you so much to Grow Therapy for sponsoring this video. Be sure to check them out through the link in the description. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you click the video on the screen right now, and don't forget, subscribe!